I'm Debbie Cowling. Welcome to my holiday in Scotland. Like many people in Canada, I have Scottish ancestors. In fact, Ancestry tells me that I have 40% Scottish. Why did I wait so long to visit? Perhaps just saving the best for last. My first day in Edinburgh was a rainy one. I went to the National Gallery's modern one. Everything's going to be all right was lit up post-pandemic. It's a fabulous collection of art and sculpture, and like most art galleries and museums in Scotland, it's free. This is a sculpture by Elizabeth Frink. A beautiful landscape. A charcoal sketch of a painter. Misty Morning by Roger Brown. I love the truck on the winding road. I love their cafe, featuring seasonal and sustainable foods. Not a fried Mars bar in sight. The weather cleared and everyone went outside to the patio. The Scott Monument on Princes Street, dedicated to Sir Walter Scott in 1840. It's adorned with 64 characters from his books. A Piper on Princes Street. A glimpse of Edinburgh Castle. Much more to follow. St. Giles Cathedral, founded in 1124, a working church for 900 years. Originally a Catholic church, the Scottish Reformation in the 16th century saw it adopt Protestantism. This was the parish church of John Knox. St. Giles is considered to be the mother church of Presbyterianism. On the way to Edinburgh Castle, I met a Pict, an early people who lived in northern and eastern Scotland. He was a storyteller and fundraiser for the Arthritis Society. Most women would choose a shield to defend themselves, but I chose a sword. He said if he'd seen a 6-foot-tall woman wielding a sword, he would have run away. The entrance to the castle. The lion rampant, the royal banner of Scotland. A view of Edinburgh from the castle. A staircase with a plaque to commemorate the Earl of Moray, who recovered the castle in 1313 after it had been held by the British for over 20 years. A whiskey tasting and sales building. I tried Magnum, a whiskey cream liquor. Delicious. Also available here at the LCBO. The Scottish crown jewels in the royal palace. The crown, the sword of state, and the scepter. Strictly no pictures. From the internet, I found the picture of the crown. It was made for James V, using Scottish gold, and used for the coronation of Scottish monarchs, including Mary, Queen of Scots, in 1543. St. Margaret's Chapel from the 12th century, founded by King David I and named after his mother. It fell into disuse after the Reformation. Walking down from the castle, a lovely pub on the Royal Mall, also woolen shops with tartan everything. A stone building from 1677. I love the stonework in Scotland. Scottish Parliament at Holyrood. This is the seat of the National Parliament of Scotland. Of all places, English language first and Gaelic second. Holyrood Palace, built in 1528, is the official residence of the British monarch in Scotland. No interior shots permitted. Masterpieces from Buckingham Palace has some exceptional Dutch art. I can only dream of what the full collection would contain. Rembrandt's painting of Agatha Bass in 1641. Garrett Dou's The Grocer's Shop. Garrett Dou's Girl Chopping Onions. Rembrandt Self-Portrait. Rembrandt's Old Man. Vermeer in Delft. Van Ruysdael, A Dutch Landscape from 1628. Roslin Chapel was a 15th century Episcopal church in Roslin, Midlothian, a short trip from Edinburgh. Founded by William Sinclair, the first Earl of Caithness, in 1456. Ornate stonework, mysterious symbolism, and biblical stories cover the walls. Green men with faces of foliage are a symbol of rebirth, the cycle of growth every spring. The chapel. No pictures were allowed, so I had to take this from the entrance. Oliver Cromwell stabled his horses in the chapel in 1650 while he ransacked a nearby castle. 1837 saw a massive restoration. There's a tasteful gift shop, bookstore, and cafe. I bought a lovely children's book written by the Countess of Roslin about William the Cat and the rescue of Roslin Chapel. Back in Edinburgh, the National Museum of Scotland, showcasing Scottish history and culture, an amazing place to visit with children. Planes suspended from the ceiling. A thatched cottage. From 1707 onwards, Scotland changed from a mainly rural country to a thriving industrial economy with the help of weaving looms, and steam engines. Craftsmanship in swords. The hilts were made in Stirling, the blades from Solingen, Germany. Mary Queen of Scots necklace from the late 16th century. Gold enameled links are set with rubies, garnets, and pearls. From the 12th century, the Lewis chessman. 9 pieces of walrus ivory were found on the island of Lewis in 1831. The style of carving links the pieces to Norway. Lewis belonged to the king of Norway, and culture was a mix of Gaelic and Scandinavian. The islands were ceded to Scotland in 1266. Dolly, the most famous sheep in the world. She was cloned in 1996. Race cars. There was even an opportunity for children to sit in one. Doctor Who, where science meets fiction, an upcoming BBC program. A life-size dinosaur. An elephant. A leopard. He looks so real, I just want to reach out and pat him. A gift shop, where I bought a necklace featuring 2 of the Lewis chessmen. Greyfriars Bobby Pub. Bobby, the devoted Skye Terrier who became known for guarding the grave of his owner for 14 years. The National Gallery, a national treasure. Grafodi Tancredi painted this from 1280 to 1290. The center features the death of St. Ephrem, while the wings feature the Passion of Christ. The gallery. Titian's Venus rising from the sea, 1520. She floated ashore in the scallop shell. Rembrandt's self-portrait. Two Scottish painters. The Skating Reverend Robert Walker by Sir Henry Raeburn. Garrett Dew's Interior with a Young Violinist. The gallery. Lady Agnes Lochnaw by John Singer Sargent. Finally, a sunny day with a view of the Scott Monument and Prince's Park. Edinburgh Castle. Wojciech the Bear, who was a mascot of Poland's 22nd Artillery Supply in World War II. He symbolized the bonds between humans and animals during hard times. He lived out his final years at the Edinburgh Zoo. The train to Oban, which translates to Little Bay. The Corrie Vrecken, where we had a full Scottish breakfast. Seafood. It doesn't get any fresher than this. Caledonian McBrain ships, Calmac, going to the islands. The Oban Distillery. Oban is one of the smallest whiskey makers in Scotland, with just 2 small stills and 7 employees. It's one of the oldest sources of single malt Scotch whiskey. Oban's Little Bay is one of their prized whiskies. The Oban Chocolate Company, a wonderful small batch craft chocolate maker and a cafe. The landmark McCaig's Tower started in 1895 to give work to Scottish stonemasons during hard times. Stopped in 1902 with the death of its benefactor. Oban's Fish and Chips, as endorsed by Rick Steen, a well-known chef and author. Best chips, fish and chips I've ever tasted, he said. Norrie's, the local favorite, as endorsed by a cabbie. Oban's Rough Waters. Ferries were operating, but I didn't want to travel. Dating to 1164, Somerled, king of the Isles, gave Dunolly to his son Dougal, and it became the seat of the clan MacDougall. The current house. A lovely tea room to visit before the long climb to the castle. A gift shop where I bought a scarf featuring the Lorne tartan. Southwest Glasgow. I started with a visit to Govan Old Church, dedicated to St. Constantine. It houses medieval stones from the 9th to the 11th centuries, from those who ruled the kingdom of Strathclyde. The wealthy kingdom of Strathclyde was a target for Viking raiders who became settlers in the 10th and 11th centuries. The hogbacks are burial monuments shaped with curved backs, resembling the back of a pig. Constantine was the son of Pictish King Kenneth MacAlpin. During his rule, there were increasing raids by the Vikings. He was killed by Vikings in 876. He is remembered as a Christian martyr and became a saint of the early church. The stone coffin likely held his remains. There is a man on horseback hunting deer. Kelvingrove Art Gallery and Museum opened in 1901 and is similar to the National Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh. It has modern art, Egyptian antiquities, Scottish artists, and Impressionists. A treasure trove for children. A dinosaur. An elephant. Sir Roger, an Asian male who belonged to a traveling circus. A fully restored Spitfire fighter plane, 2.3 tons suspended from the ceiling. An interior of this massive museum. Rembrandt's A Man in Armour from 1655. Govert Flink's Self-Portrait, 1638. Old Duff by Samuel Peploe, a Scottish post-impressionist. A well-dressed man, complete with dress shirt, bow tie, Prince Charlie jacket, kilt, and sporran. The University of Glasgow, founded in 1451, is the largest by enrolment in Scotland. Its Gothic-styled campus has over 100 buildings and the Hunterian Museum. Is that a TARDIS? No, actually it's a falafel takeout, just by the Botanical Gardens. Glasgow's Botanical Gardens, founded in 1817. It has Victorian greenhouses with cast iron frames and covers over 27 acres. The tea room at the Botanics was great for lunch after touring the gardens. I love the Isle of Skye candle making company, all handmade for the shorter days and brighter nights. They have candles and bath products like heather and wild berries or Scots pine, and they ship to Canada. Our best dining experience anywhere in Scotland was at Ardna Merchants, featuring fresh Scottish produce, venison, lobster, Speyside beef, scallops, and many brands of whiskies. I tried a 12-year-old Dalwhinnie. Lovely. Glasgow's Gothic cathedral is the oldest in the mainland, dating from 1197. Located on the tomb site of St. Mungo, it is also the oldest building in Glasgow, surviving the Protestant Reformation almost intact. It was a rainy day. You may have heard of Charles Mackintosh, a Scottish chemist who, out of necessity, developed the Mac, or Macintosh, using waterproof fabric. He combined a tar byproduct with rubber, had patented in 1823. Thank you, Charles. Walking down to the crypt. The crypt was built mid-1200s to house the tomb of St. Mungo, patron saint of Glasgow. St. Mungo, St. Kentigern, was a missionary from the kingdom of Strathclyde in the 6th century. Mungo is a term of endearment, meaning my pet or my dear. The necropolis, Glasgow's Victorian city of the dead, is modeled after the Père Lachaise cemetery in Paris. Walking tours were very popular, possibly because we visited just before Halloween. A mural on the side of a building. It represents St. Mungo in modern day, with a bird he restored to life. The Purple Cat Cafe. With a double door system for no escapes, it houses rescue cats and donations from entry fees and meals fund it. Glasgow Central Station, the busiest in Scotland. Unfortunately, there were cancellations and work stoppages with Avanti West Coast, which made our return to London's Euston Station challenging. I booked first class for extra legroom, so our seats were allocated to us on the next train, allowing a late but great journey back, complete with afternoon tea. my travel partner and daughter, Louisa. It was wonderful exploring our heritage together. We learned so much while having fun visiting sites, meeting people, and sampling some of the best of Scottish life and culture. Thank you for watching my pictures of Scotland. If you've been there, you will recognize many sites and perhaps see a few new ones as well. If you haven't visited, I can hardly recommend it. I look forward to future visits. Hmm, maybe the Highlands and some islands.